All right, hello and welcome back to another wee bit different video. Today is going to be one of my favorite videos I've made in quite some time, just because I think there's so many ways this video could have gone, but instead I'm taking it this direction, which you guys will see soon. The title of the video is Top 5 Most Fun Elden Ring Boss Fights. Keyword here is fun, so it's not coolest. Coolest can be fun, but it's not hardest, it's not easiest, it's not anything else, it's fun. Now, when you talk about things that are fun, it is entirely subjective. So your list can differentiate from my list a lot. Your ideals of fun are far different from mine. For example, spoilers, Millennia is not in this list. Some of you guys are like, bro, she's the funnest boss because she's the most challenging. That's not how I interpret fun because of challenging. Typically, I actually hate bosses that are like stupid hard, because that's just the kind of player I am. I don't like bosses that can just cheese you and can just shit on you, and you have to play that against that boss a million times just to win. Now, there are exceptions, of course, but I just, that's not how I like to play the game. I like to think bosses are cool because of the aesthetic, the theme, the moveset. There's several reasons, that I think bosses are cool, and we're gonna get into them. So going into number one, let's talk about it right off the bat. Drum roll, please. We have the Regal Ancestor Spirit. Now, you guys hear that name and you're thinking, how the hell is the Regal Ancestor Spirit on this list? And let me explain. And this is why it's a personal list. I love the mystical feeling that I get when I fight against the Regal Ancestor Spirit. I love its aura that it's got going around it, like these blue, light blue, they're not flames, it's like literal aura. We say aura when someone's got game or when they got a cool vibe, but I'm not even talking about the vibe. I'm literally talking about the aura of the Regal Ancestor Spirit. I love the massive battlefield. It's such an open area. It feels really sick because it's this big ass deer who we get inside its mind or get inside its realm. I'm not sure how it works, because when you go into the fight, you have to like touch it. You have to touch like a dead deer, and then you get into it, and then there's this big ass stage, huge area. The music is elegant, and again, it makes everything feel super mystical, and that's my kind of boss fight. I love that kind of aesthetic. And then fighting it is a strong boss, but you definitely can beat it. Not relatively easy, but with some effort. Depending on who you are, you might beat it easy, but I'm one of the guys that I took maybe an hour to beat it, so nothing too crazy, not the end of the world. Maybe some people will beat it quicker, maybe some people beat it a little longer. I beat it in about an hour, maybe even a little bit less, like 45 minutes. But the point is that I actually really enjoyed that boss fight. It felt, I'm gonna use this word again, mystical. Going into number two, drum roll please. We have Scourge Ron. Now, typically, again, I'll be the first person to tell you, I hate boss fights that feel impossible, but luckily for me, I got to fight Scourge Ron post nerf, not prior to him getting nerfed, so I didn't have to experience what some of you guys experienced. For example, my cousin fought him prior to the nerf, and he said it was one of the hardest fights he ever did, but I fought him post nerf, and my biggest reasons as to why I think this is one of the coolest boss fights is that battlefield is absolutely epic. You got a bunch of dead soldiers all around you, and then me, when I fought against him, I called in two other people, and the run to him, we were just all running to him while he was shooting the arrows. It just felt like some World War type shit. When the music is playing and he's shooting the arrows, it's like artillery bombing you, right? With the way he's shooting it, and the whole squad is just running at him ready to fight. It feels like some grand epic battle. And that to me is cool, right? They did amazing with the opening cutscene. They did amazing with the music and just the entire build up towards it. And even the post cutscene when you beat him is amazing. But specifically talking about the fight itself, the boss didn't feel broken. Again, I fought him post nerf, and it was just an enjoyment through and through. I was having a great time. The people I called on, hopefully they had a great time. I died like 10 plus times still. So it was still an effort I had to put in, but the fight just felt glorious. And his moveset was really cool. He was a huge boss, so obviously his presence commanded everyone's attention at all times, and you had to be uber focused. But all in all, I thought the fight was really cool, and I had a great time. Going into number 3, we have, drum roll please, we have the Mimic tier. Now, this is not going to be a long section of the video because I feel like a lot of this is obvious. The Mimic tier is literally the most unique boss fight in the entire game because you are fighting yourself. Whatever build you got going on, however you look with your fit, this Mimic is going to be you, and you got to beat yourself. It felt super cool, super unique, and it's not like there was some crazy music or some crazy buildup, but I just have a hard time thinking the fight's going to get more fun and more cool and more unique than when you literally fight yourself. And when you do beat him, you unlock the Mimic tier, if I remember correctly. But all in all, there's not a lot that needs to be said. Fighting myself, well, I don't think I've ever done that in any game. So that was cool, and I enjoyed that experience a lot. Okay, up next we have a bonus one. And for the bonus one, it's not part of the top 5, but I really wanted to include it because it felt important to me to add to this list. We have, no drum roll, the Crucible Knight. And the reason why I think the Crucible Knight is such a cool fight is because it's so beginner friendly. It's such a simple fight. It's a traditional grounded fight. The timing is easy to understand, but the effects that he has are cool enough, and he's just difficult enough to really enjoy the fight. And for me, when I first played Elden Ring, this was only my second Souls game. Bloodborne was my first. Elden Ring was my second, so I wasn't the best player. And I struggled against the Tree Sentinel and pretty much anyone else I came across. But when I found this guy, don't get me wrong, he was strong, but he gave me the perfect challenge that he wasn't too hard, but wasn't too easy. And I felt rewarded by beating him because I did have to learn his timing, which in hindsight is 1000% easier than most of these bosses. It just flat out is. And he does have the wings and the tail, so again, that's more so when he's close to death, but it felt like a good, proper fight for a beginner like myself at the time, and I actually really enjoyed that fight, and I definitely wanted to include it in this list. Obviously not as the top 5, but as a bonus. Next up, we have, drum roll please, we have Rykard. Now, or is it Ricard? I think it's Rykard. Anyway, it's a snake dude. My biggest reason, without question, of why I think this is an amazing fight in terms of just coolness. The weapon you get prior to fighting him. When you walk into that arena, you find that weapon on your left, you pick it up, and it's the Serpent Killer. And when you use it, oh my god. That fight is so epic because the animations make you feel like the reincarnation of Jesus freaking Christ. Now, I don't use that phrase lightly because there's not a lot of video games that can make me feel that powerful and that epic. But that fight was glorious. And even Rykard himself, the whole lava scenery from Volcano Manor, the music was great. And when you take out his health bar the first time and he goes into his second form, he has this line that my cousin says a lot and he appreciates. The line is, "Together we will devour the very gods." And then he busts out the blasphemous blade, and it's just so freaking cool. All in all, man, like, those are the fights to me that make Elden Ring so great. When you have a boss that has such an awesome weapon, when you have a boss that allows you to fight him with an awesome weapon, when you have the music that's going great, when the entire arena is this lava aesthetic, and man, oh man, do you feel like just an absolute savage when you're fighting. So he was a hard boss. Nothing too hard because I was over leveled at the time, but I know that a lot of people see him as a hard boss anyway. He's one of the remembrance bosses. All in all though, definitely deserving of the top 5. All right, getting into the 5th and the final spot. I think this might be like number 1 in the whole list, just in terms of, I typically say a top 5, but I never have them in order. I think this might just be the coolest boss fight in all of Elden Ring. And that is saying a lot because there's a lot of cool boss fights and you could have easily said more than a top 5. But this one, in my opinion, it's really really good. Drum roll, please. We have... This is for all you DLC people. We have Bale the Dread. Now, typically, I hate difficult boss fights. I do with a passion. I just think to myself, why? Why is this guy so overpowered? But you can't deny how amazing this boss fight is. Reason number one, and I think this is the thing that sets it apart from several other boss fights, is Egon with his NPC dialogue is just goated. It is amazing. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you will now.
Bale the Dread, you shall haunt me no longer.
That dialogue made the fight so freaking epic. The voice actor was phenomenal. Not only that, the music is fantastic. It really feels like you're fighting against a fucking dragon. Then you add on to that, his design is absolutely epic. His moveset is epic. Visually amazing with everything that he does and everything surrounding him. It's just, the entire fight is fantastic. I hate hard bosses. I do. I hate hard bosses in Elden Ring. And there's a lot of them, especially in the DLCs, pretty much all hard bosses. But my God, Bale is the exception where I actually found myself enjoying myself and enjoying my time and thinking, wow, this is amazing. I know this boss is kicking my ass, but this is amazing. Again, number one DLC boss in terms of coolness. The entire fight is fucking awesome. And Egon just makes it so much better. Especially when you actually beat Bale. Oh, God. Let me know what you guys think. What's your top 5? Do you disagree with me because you think others are better or because some of the ones I named suck? I'm curious as to your guys' thoughts are too. So, as always, I appreciate you guys for watching. This is I'll Been Different. We've been different. And we out.